now, right now. Right 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 now, right now. Oh, I got a real good feeling.
We try to bring you high-quality educational and informational content every single day. Why do you think the price is having such an anemic time? The news story of the hour. Jump onto the chart. Is this the beginning of a massive financial unraveling? We got to add a little addendum to the show map today. So we start here on the daily. Now, we've been looking at the RSI on Bitcoin's daily chart for the last several days. It always has been, but it's been increasing over the last 50 years since the government has been Hey guys, what's going on? Jeb here, and welcome back to Coffee and Crypto Live. This is your week daily morning show. We bring you the latest and everything Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. And in today's episode, we are going to be talking about none other than the massive rally that's going on Bitcoin right now. I'm just going to reposition myself a little bit there, make myself a little shorter. And we're also going to be talking about Gary Gensler, because as you guys know, Gary Gensler is, of course, the, how should we say this? The boogeyman of crypto. And so I'm going to explain to you today a little bit of a thought process that I had, wherein Gary Gensler is quickly becoming the thing that he fears the most. And we'll talk about what exactly that is a little bit later, and why that very well may be the exact reason why, one, he does not continue in power into the next presidency, number two, why nobody follows in his footsteps, and why, number three, maybe, if the guy realizes this, he'll change his tune and we might actually get a Bitcoin ETF. We're going to talk about how important it is that we actually do get a Bitcoin ETF soon, because there is some danger lurking in the market. Danger, Will Robinson. We've got some danger, and we need to be very careful because we are currently playing with fire. But I do think that a $40,000 Bitcoin could be in our near-term future. So how do I reconcile all of those thoughts? That's what we're going to talk about today. If you do enjoy today's show, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit that post notification bell so you won't miss a single upload. Thank you so very much for tuning in. We've got Paul Torelli bringing it in first today. Said good morning. Crypto Mini Bike said good morning, everyone. Good morning to you as well. Joe Bollier is in chat. Bollier? I'm sorry. I ought to know this by now. You're in chat every day. Shout out to you. You can correct me. You can tell me which one it is. Jeremy. Okay, if I can pronounce this and not Bollier, I'm going to feel pretty silly. Edokpa Smith. Edokpa Smith? Jeremy Edokpa Smith. That's a cool name. That's a really cool name. So shout out to you, Jeremy. Happy Max in chat. Rick4962, Yard Dog out of Knoxville, Tennessee is in chat. Brandon McMaster's in chat. DH is in chat. Cheddar Roman is in chat. RK, Crypto Kehoe is in chat. Good to see you. Chris SF said Bitcoin to the moon. There we go. Mattis S is in chat. Lazy is in chat. You thought you were going to get me. Hello from Seattle. Josh Denham is in chat. Queen Stephanie Mitchell. Sean O'Brien. Nathan Wilson. Cyber Noob. Alex Kaimana. Psalmscene Sanya. Psalmscene Sanya. That's a cool name. Alex Nybo. Queen said, my skin is looking good. It's the shorter hair. The shorter hair helps a lot. I'm really enjoying the shorter hair. I told my wife a couple days ago, I was like, man, my hair's getting long. I need a haircut. And she just looked at me and kind of laughed, because my hair is normally, like down to here. I normally look like Jesus from that one movie that just came out. OMAC is in chat. Good to see you. The Drake Equation is in chat. Man, there's so many people in chat. I'm trying to give a shout out. Vincenzo, Mr. Drip, Swizzle Shizzle, Joey Van Engelenberg, Clap Music, Edgar Marquise, Greet, Clyberta, Tyler Wooten, Nathan Wilson said hit the like button. There's so many of you guys in chat. I'm going to call it there because I am having a hard time keeping up because there's so many people in chat. So shout out to everybody who just joined. We've got a lot to talk about, so let's go ahead and dive right on into it. Bitcoin's trading at $36,800 over the last couple of days. We've been essentially trading sideways. And as you can see on the price action chart, while we've been trading sideways over the last couple of days, we have, of course, been generally moving to the upside over the last 3 weeks. Bitcoin initially rallied up here to about $35,000 and moved very quickly up here. Then we've been gradually trading to the upside ever since. And again, kind of the two topics that I'm going to marry today are how Bitcoin is going to $40,000, but there is a lot of danger, Will Robinson, that we need to watch out for. Tell me where that reference is from. And then we're also going to be talking about the Gary Gensler dilemma. The Gary Gensler dilemma. Let me just kind of tease that topic with a story. there was a missionary who was afraid of snakes. And so this is kind of a sad story. Like I don't tell this story with any joy in my heart, but you may find it interesting, certainly not humorous. There was a missionary and his wife who were very afraid of snakes. And so they felt that they were called to the Amazon, but there were so many snakes around and they had 3 children that they were very worried about. I'm going to have to kind of censor some of the story because it's pretty morbid. They were very worried about snakes. And so they decided to come back to the United States because they felt that they were called to the Amazon, but they just didn't stay there because they were scared of all the snakes. They had this fear of snakes. And so they came back and they lived in, it was Arizona, New Mexico. I don't remember exactly. I'm retelling the story. And they lived in this this single-wide trailer in a trailer park in the desert. And their 2 children were playing outside one day. And lo and behold, a rattlesnake came up and they lost both their boys. And when they were driving to take them to the hospital, something happened to the rest of them. Again, I'm not going to get too morbid, but the point is they were afraid of snakes. And so it ended up being snakes that took them out. And unfortunately, that's kind of what happens in our life. Oftentimes, the thing that I'm the most scared of is the thing that I fixate on. You know, if you're driving, you're scared like, oh, I'm scared I'm going to hit that guardrail. Or, oh, I'm scared I'm going to hit that tree. Oh, I'm scared I'm going to hit that. That's a lot of times the exact thing that you're going to hit. And Gary Gensler seems to be afraid of market manipulation and screwing over the investor. And I'm here today to tell you that it very well may be the very thing that Gary Gensler is afraid of that will be his Achilles heel and will bring him down. And we're going to talk about that a little bit later. Again, kind of censor the story. You might be able to fill in the gaps. I just, there are a few young listeners here. So I want to, some people watch the show with their children. I don't want to be morbid or anything, but I do want to make the point that oftentimes in life, the thing that we're the most scared of is the exact thing that will come back to, I'll say haunt us, because I think bite us would come across as a poorly timed joke. Let's continue on here with the cryptocurrency analysis. Ethereum is sitting at $2,092. It is up It is up ever so slightly over the last 24 hours, up about 1.5% over the last 24 hours, up nearly 10% over the last 7 days. Ethereum has been performing very well and is sitting in a very important convergence of 2 support zones. It's sitting at $250 trillion in market capitalization. Let's give credit where credit's due to Ethereum. And it's also sitting just shy above $2,080. If you remember, BlackRock announced that they were moving in the direction of a Ethereum ETF through the form of a trust, and they'll probably upgrade it, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. They are planning on building out an Ethereum ETF. That's essentially we basically know that at this point. And as we talked about on Friday, and it was a very successful show on Friday, and I think you guys got a lot of value out of it. On Friday, we discussed how Ethereum's ETF application, trust application, eventually an ETF, from BlackRock means that BlackRock seems to mean it when they have a commitment to cryptocurrency, not just to Bitcoin, which means that they're probably going to try and build out a plethora of ETFs. Could we see a Binance ETF? Could we see an XRP ETF? Could we see a Solana ETF? Could we see a Cardano, etc. ETF? Could we see a Chainlink or a Polygon ETF? Potentially. These are absolutely possibilities. These are cryptocurrencies that have survived through the bear market and I believe will thrive in the next couple of years. In that market, in the next 5 to 10 years, you're looking at a cryptocurrency index fund. You think the Bitcoin ETF will bring in a lot of investment, maybe a few $1 trillion. An index fund would bring in 20. We're talking probably 10 times more investment in the cryptocurrency space than a mere Bitcoin ETF. We're on the border of that. An index fund is what's coming. So that is why Ethereum is doing very well. That news broke on, I want to say Thursday. We covered it more so on Friday. So about November the 9th, we got that announcement. And so Ethereum did pretty well. Ethereum rallied all the way up to about $2,140. Yeah, $2,141. Came back and backtested 2040, which is exceptional news. Rallied all the way up to 2140, pulled back and backtested down to 2040, and then bounced. Why would we backtest down to 2040? Why is that so important? Well, 2040 is our previous level of resistance here on the 13th of July. It is also previous resistance here on the 13th of August, 2022. If you look at the history of Ethereum, $2,040 is actually a very, very significant level. It's also a bottom that we set over here. in April of 2021, again, 2040, and it was an all-time high that we set here on the 20th of February. So I think it's needless to say $2,040 is a very critical level, and it is why I have $2,040 as the top of what I call the transitionary zone. Now, let me just back up a little bit. The transitionary zone for Bitcoin ranges between $25,236 and $28,545. Bitcoin is obviously well above that now. What is a transition? It is a movement from one thing to another. In this case, the transitionary zone on Bitcoin and on Ethereum, and we also have it drawn kind of on Cardano. The transitionary zone between it is the transitionary zone between bear market levels and bull market levels. The fact that Ethereum, and I couldn't ignore this, this is not really a show about Ethereum today, but I could not simply ignore this. The fact that Ethereum broke above the top of the transitionary zone, came back and bounced on it, is revolutionary. We have not seen a breakthrough of the top of the transitionary zone, and I'll just kind of clean this chart up a little bit here. We have not seen a breakthrough of the top of the transitionary zone in quite a long time. And the last time we did, here in mid-April, we fell straight back through it, and within just a couple of days, we were back down at 1,700. By falling back down to 2040 and bouncing, it shows us that the market structure for Ethereum is beginning to break, and that means a major rally on Ethereum is likely just around the corner. Remember, our end-of-year / end-of-quarter one price target for Ethereum started at $2,500 and moved all the way up to $4,000. We have hit our end-of-year Bitcoin price target from this chart right here. We drew this little green box here back in March, 10 months ago, almost 10 months ago. Excuse me, 8 or 9 months ago. And Bitcoin has essentially hit it. Now, if we look over to Ethereum, we can see very clearly that we have not quite gotten there yet, but I do believe that we will. This is our third test on this next level here around 2141, and I think that with just a little bit more gas, Ethereum is going to be able to go on a major run. In short, Ethereum is in wonderful positioning right now, and I think that if you are an investor in the cryptocurrency market, you obviously ought to be dollar cost averaging into at least the top 10 altcoins and Bitcoin, not including stablecoins, of course. There's no reason to dollar cost average into those, but you ought to be at least dollar cost averaging into the top 10. Ethereum should certainly be in that portfolio. This is simply my opinion. This is not financial advice. I am not your paid financial advisor. Let's just get that out of the way. Please make your own decisions. Even if I was your financial advisor, which I have no interest in being, for reasons I'll explain in a second, I would still tell you the exact same thing. Do your own research. Ultimately, you're responsible for your own decisions. Now, part of the reason I am not a financial advisor, because I actually just got an update that AFC had a birthday. American Financial Coaches. The reason that I'm not a financial advisor, because I actually looked into going down the path of becoming a financial advisor, is because if you become a financial advisor, you can't talk about financial markets in the public. At least you are extremely limited on what you can say. It's kind of like if I were to get a real estate agent's license, because I've thought about doing that, and doing real estate, so that I could buy and flip property myself without having to pay the commission. If I become a real estate agent, I'm not allowed to talk about real estate trends in public like this. So that's just the way the law works. So in case you're wondering, I tried to become a financial advisor. Not going to do it because it would destroy this YouTube channel. So thanks, big government. I just really appreciate all of that. Just thank you. Sometimes the government reminds me of civil engineers when they put the little concrete thing in the middle so you can't turn left. I understand there's a purpose for it, but golly, does it get in the way. You just got to get a truck and drive. No, I'm just kidding. Don't do that. Anyway, moving on here. Ethereum's doing very well. Rallied all the way up to 2140, pulled back to 2040, and bouncing. That's our point, so let's move on. The rest of the cryptocurrency market doing pretty well as well. Solana up 37%. Read a report this morning that the Grayscale Solana Trust is up like 600% on the premium. So Solana's got a bright future. Again, like I said, throw out the bias, throw out the doctrine, throw out the opinion for a minute, throw out this crypto's got this right, this crypto's got that right, except for a few cases. There are a few cases that you should include that. But for the most part, throw out all of it and say, I'm going to dollar cost average the top 10. I'm going to dollar cost average the top 20. I'm going to dollar cost average the top 50. Whatever. Maybe exclude a few because you really, really, really strongly think that they're nonsense. For me, I would exclude Bitcoin Cash. I think Bitcoin Cash is one of the biggest scams in the history of Bitcoin. To hard fork off of Bitcoin and then claim that you're the real Bitcoin and then call the original a fraud and a scam is nonsense. And Roger Ver did a lot of great things for this space, but he torpedoed his reputation with that. I'm not saying he can't come back. Not saying that he can't get it back. Not saying there isn't forgiveness where there is repentance. But I think the Bitcoin Cash was a massive distraction in the cryptocurrency market. And so when I say, invest in the top 10, top 20, top 50, for me, I would be holding off on Bitcoin Cash for that purpose. It is number 20. Would I include Shiba and Doge? Yeah, weighted percentages. Say, hey, look, this makes up 2% of the top 20, so I'm going to invest 2% of $1,000, whatever the amount is in that cryptocurrency. Do I have qualms with Solana? You're dang right I do. Of course I do. I do have problems with Solana. You cannot deny, however, its performance. And so that's where you have to learn a lesson from the Tesla naysayers, for example, where you say, oh, Tesla's massively overvalued. Look at his PE ratio. It's 40 times higher than Ford. Aren't they also a car company? They do EVs also. You're not seeing the new Mustang, right? Why would I buy that? It just keeps going up. Sometimes the fundamentals need to be paid attention to, and sometimes you also just need to say, look, I'm just going to throw it in the portfolio because why not? It seems to be doing well. Everybody else thinks it's great. Solana's not anywhere near as overvalued as Tesla was at that point. So, throw it in there. Generally speaking, the cryptocurrency market is doing well. And when you see a 7-day return on all of these cryptocurrencies like this, that definitely backs up the idea, all right, I should be doing some kind of broad-based index fund strategy investment in the cryptocurrency market. And then sure, pick your winners. Pick your little cryptocurrencies that you're going to dump $1,000 into. Pick your little moon bags. Great. Maybe you invest in the top 20 as if you were the fund manager for the Crypto 20 index fund, which I thought existed, but apparently it doesn't. Can't find anything on it. It's not really a thing out there. And then sure, go ahead and buy, one that might be missing. For example, people love Gala. Gala's not in the top 20, is it? I don't think. It's not even close. No, it's not even close. So, buy that, and then maybe you say, all right, I want to buy Gala also. Or, all right, I want to buy Sand. Whatever. It's okay to buy individual stocks. It's okay to buy individual cryptocurrencies on top of your index fund, but start off with a broad-based index fund where you're investing in the market as a whole. Your risk will be as low as it can be because you're investing in the industry. Think about that for a second. You are able to invest in the cryptocurrency industry. That's a pretty great investment, right? I think you would, I would like to think that you would agree with me on that because you're here. You're investing your time in me talking to you about the cryptocurrency industry. So I would highly consider investing in the cryptocurrency industry from a broad-based index fund style approach. Sure, pick your altcoins. Start off with a base of investment in the top 10, top 20, top 50, whatever. Weighted by their market dominance. All right, going to read some chat, and then we're going to talk about Bitcoin being up to $40,000 around the corner, but the danger that is currently presenting itself to Bitcoin. If you're enjoying today's stream, let's get the likes up over 120, and let's also make sure to hit that subscribe button. Thank you guys so very much. Queen is in chat, says financial sovereignty or nothing, I think you were saying. Nick said, lost in space, because who needs color television? Someone got the reference. Love you, Pastor Jeb. You've helped me tremendously. Hashtag priceless. Well, thank you. Philly Skills 1428 said, morning, Jeb. How's it going, man? It's going good. Thank you very much. French Toaster is in chat. Bitcoin Trini said, what's going on? Good to see you. Any suggestions on a good/safe crypto lending platform? No. And to be honest with you, every time I have been around a crypto lending platform, it has turned out to be a Ponzi scheme. Are there legitimate ones out there? I think so. But, gonna be honest, I remember, just to kind of, I was always scared of people finding this out, and I never lied. It's even up in some of the original videos. You can see the tab open with BitConnect. I had a BitConnect account back in the day because I'd been in crypto for like 3 months, and I just thought, oh, this must be the way it works. There's a trading bot. Cool. Makes 0.96% a day. All right. So I literally spent like 12 hours one day. I'm not joking. I spent all day. I woke up and I worked on this thing till I dropped that night on a weekend. I was 17. On a spreadsheet for BitConnect. I don't know why I did this because I could have typed it into Google. But I literally built a spreadsheet. I learned how to build spreadsheets just to build this spreadsheet. This calculator where I could plug in, okay, if I put $10 a day into it, then if I run it for 3 years, then I'll have this much money and I'll be super rich. And then, you know, BitConnect blew up in a blaze of flaming glory. So that's my experience with lending platforms. And I felt like a massive idiot because I was like, oh man, I should have seen this coming. I had the whopping total of like $200 in there and none of it was in the BitConnect token. And they actually, if you didn't know this, you actually could withdraw. So I got my money out. But I still felt like an idiot. So that's my experience with lending platforms. Do I know any that are good and safe? I don't. Are there some out there? Maybe. Am I aware of them? Also no. Jeb, did you get over your illness? Moving in that direction. We've got a lot of things we're working on to feel better in that regard. Swizzle Shizzle said. I am feeling a good bit better right now. Gaz Hilt said, be connect. Just had to do it. Had to do it to you. All right. Welcome to Volatility. Swizzle Shizzle said, love how you got my name right on the money, but are murdering some of these people's normal names. At the same time, Joey Van Engelenberg said you actually pronounced my name correctly. So that's we got a little bit of a disagreement there. Smash the like button, please, and thank you. Hashtag FinSolve. Thank you guys so much. Thank you guys so much. You really should go back and watch the first video ever up on the channel because it's some low energy stuff. It's like a presidential debate, guys. It was. I was like, man, I needed some coffee in me. That's what I needed. Somebody walked up to me. I'm sorry. I am off on a rampage rant, but I got to tell you a story. I was standing right next to Rand Nooner's booth at a North American Bitcoin Conference 2022. Rick4962 dropping the $50 dono. Thank you so much, my friend. Man, that's got to bring us up to like $3,000 of donations by this point. Thank you so much, Rick. Really appreciate all of your continued support, and shout out to you, my friend. Very integral member of the community, and I appreciated talking to you. I think I may have missed a phone call from you. I need to check because I'm not sure that it didn't show up as your contact, so I got to figure that out. What was I saying? Yes, I was at the North American Bitcoin Conference, and a lot of you guys met me there. Tom Wilkes, I ran into there. Guy in green army fatigues, just massive, like 6.5 foot tall dude walks up to me in army fatigues, and he's got this thick Jamaican accent. He's like, Jeb, do you do cocaine? And I'm just like, what? There's no way he just said that. There's no way. He walks up and he goes, Jeb, do you do cocaine? Do you do cocaine? Like, I'm sorry? This is a true story. I'm not kidding. Rand Nooner might remember this. I was right outside of his booth. I doubt he does. He was doing other stuff. But I just got done doing a interview with one of the guys over there. This is a year and a half ago. And he walks up to me and I asked him about 9 times. He got this thick accent. I'm like, I must be misunderstanding this fella. There's no way he's actually asking me what I think he's asking me. And sure enough, he was asking me if I, do cocaine. No, I don't. He's like, are you just like this all the time? I was like, I just was born with a lot of energy. I'm sorry. Why would you ask that? I didn't say that to him, but I'm just like so confused. Very funny story. Very funny story. Now there's going to be people like, oh my gosh. No. Look, I grew up around people that have been very, very, frankly, I'll just put it this simply. I've grown up around people that have died because of that kind of stuff. No interest in it whatsoever. All right, let's keep moving here. I'm off on a tangent and we need to get back on the horse. Let's go ahead and talk about Bitcoin going to $40,000 and the danger that we are witnessing there. Bitcoin going to $40,000 has a lot of danger behind it. Let's just go ahead and review some of the technicals. The Fibonacci golden pocket for Bitcoin right now is sitting between $39,000 and $41,000, which gives us that $40,000 price target. We've been talking about $40,000 being the target after $5,000, after 31.8, after 28.5 for a long time. We've been talking about this at length for a while. And so $40,000 is a number that we are very familiar with because it has always been an integral level that Bitcoin is going to have to go to. But there is a degree of danger here, and it ties into our conversation about Gary Gensler that I want to get into immediately after the conversation about a $40,000 Bitcoin, and then we'll marry the two conversations together. The reason that we've rallied from $35,000 to the reason that we've rallied from $25,000 to $26,000 all the way up to $37,000 is because of hype surrounding the idea of a Bitcoin ETF. For example, let me just go on CoinDesk real quick, and let's just time how long it takes for me to find an article. Okay. Go. Hang on. Let's just see how long it takes me to find an article about the Bitcoin ETF. All right. Go. Let's see. There's the Ethereum ETF. Got it. And let's see. Solana. Let's see here. All right. This is the GBTC. Won't take long. I'm sure it's around here somewhere. Surely there's something around here with the Bitcoin ETF. Let's see. Grayscale. Got the Ethereum ETF right there. Ethereum ETF. Boom. Didn't take us very long to find out. As spot Bitcoin and Ethereum ETF euphoria in the works. I've missed it. I'm sorry. It was right there. It was the headline article. And I missed it. It said Bitcoin and Ethereum ETF. It took me 2 seconds. There's the BlackRock ETF. Boom. Right there. Took me 2 seconds to find an article on the Bitcoin ETF. Because everybody's talking about it. It is a huge driving force behind all the hype. Cointelegraph put their metaphorical foot in their mouth when they announced that the BlackRock ETF had been approved, but lo and behold, just the idea that it might be approved was enough to drive us by $10,000. So here's where the danger comes in. Many of the approval windows for those ETFs are coming up very soon. Approval deadlines, I should say. Many of them by the end of February. The 21 share, ARK Invest in 21 shares spot Bitcoin ETF application is by January 10th, and BlackRock's application is by March 15th of next year. So those application deadlines are fast approaching, and the main reason that we've had all of this hype and exuberance was because people are expecting that one of them is going to get approved. Now, here's the deal. This is where we've got to come back and talk about Gary Gensler from a human point of view. He is, of course, not the only chairperson. There are, of course, 5. And one of them is very staunchly pro-cryptocurrency, so that basically brings it down to 4-4, because we already know that she's going to basically approve anything. That is, of course, Crypto Mom, if you guys are not familiar with the name. Hester Pierce. So it's basically down, it's kind of a split committee. It's basically 4-4, because you can already assume that she's going to vote for whatever. It's a bit, we got to look at this a little bit like the Supreme Court. There's some people, there's some justices, you know, they're going to vote a certain way. For her, you know that she's going to vote a certain way. So it basically comes down to those 4. One of them is Gary Gensler. You basically know how he's going to vote. So then it comes down to the other 3. How do they vote? Well, it's best 2 out of 3, more or less. Because you got 1 for, 1 against. They're basically hardline voters. And then you're going to have the 3 in the middle. And the 3 in the middle, nobody really talks about, but those 3 are the ones that are actually really making the decisions here, because they have to come to an agreement of some kind. And the tricky thing here is that many of these ETFs have been denied before. Many of them are reapplications. One of them is BlackRock's, and there is a large possibility that all of them will be denied. It is very possible that BlackRock's gets denied. And that's the danger that we're facing here, is that much of the bullishness that we have built over the last several months has come on the back of an expectation of bullishness from the Bitcoin ETFs being approved. And BlackRock does have a nearly perfect and flawless track record of having ETFs approved. They've applied for like 670, something like that. I forget the exact number, but a huge number. And they've only ever had 1 denied. So are they going to get it approved? Probably. But there is obviously that danger that they don't. And what happens if this entire round of Bitcoin ETFs gets denied? Well, the problem is much of this rally has been built on the foundation of the SEC approving a Bitcoin ETF. Well, the problem is that's not a firm foundation. That is a foundation of speculation. And so while I'm all for this rally, and while I do believe that $40,000 is around the corner, I want to repeat that this market at the moment, at least a good bit of the appreciation that we've seen, is built on a foundation of speculation. That does not mean that we can't go to 40,000. And that does not mean that if an ETF, if all of them get denied, that Bitcoin just suddenly drops back to 25. No, it would probably drop back and stay in the 30s, because much of that money that came into Bitcoin would likely stay, because we'll probably get a spot Bitcoin ETF application, spot Bitcoin ETF approval in the future. But in the short term, it would be cataclysmic for price if every one of them, including BlackRock's, with final deadline coming up March 15th, was denied. So that is just kind of the danger that I want to bring to your attention. There's obviously a lot of bullishness going on in the Bitcoin and the cryptocurrency market right now. You've got a weekly chart, MACD, that is remarkably bullish. You've got RSI sitting up here at 73. You've got weekly chart Lux Algo giving us a buy signal and a confirmation with a bottom take profit, the baseline take profit down here at $41,400. That's the top of our Fibonacci zone, and at the top, $48,314. If you guys have not seen our video on the 48,314 price prediction, I would recommend you go back and you watch that right now or as soon as the stream's over. This video right here, $48,314 within 52 days. This video goes over this price prediction right here at 48,314. So make sure to go back and watch that. I do think that that's in the cards. I do think that that's coming. But we've always got to keep in mind that there is that possible headwind, headstorm. I don't. What do you want to call it? A hurricane coming in our direction of the Bitcoin ETFs being denied because Gary Gensler is the chair, and he doesn't like Bitcoin ETFs. He doesn't like Bitcoin and cryptocurrency in general, and he wants to stifle that innovation. So, are we going to go to 40K? Yes, I can basically say that for certain that is going to happen eventually. The question of when comes up. It will take longer if all the Bitcoin, it may take longer if all the Bitcoin ETF applications are denied. We may already be at $40,000 by the time they get denied. I would not be surprised. I'm calling for 40K by the end of the year, or at least by the end of Q1, but probably by the end of the year. $48,000 either by the end of the year or by the end of quarter 1, somewhere in that range. But what I will say is that it's going to take a lot out of the market, a lot of wind out of our sails if all of those ETF applications get denied. Now, many of the deadlines happen right around the halving event. So if we do have a big rally and a big crash, then the halving event comes up and we go in through a rally. That's a little bit what happened back in 2019 with this massive rally, and Pride comes before the fall. So we fell down to $4,000 along with the pandemic. And so then we rallied from there and went higher. It's very possible that the exact same thing happens here. Bitcoin rallies all the way up to $48,000, $50,000, crashes, and then bounces and rallies once again. Would not be surprised to see that happen. It's just something that we want to keep in the back of our minds, because it is oftentimes, if you're going to invest in a market in an index fund strategy, you're oftentimes going to be unprofitable for a while because you're sacrificing timing the market for time in the market, which is generally speaking a good sacrifice. But same thing with the S&P 500. If you were to be dollar cost averaging the S&P 500 over the last year and a half or so, you would barely be in profit because you would have bought quite a bit up here and we're down here. You would have bought quite a bit up around 450, 460, and we're down at 430, 440 right now. But in the long run, it pays off. It is a long run style investment. That's why I recommend a dollar cost average style approach to a dollar cost average index fund style approach to cryptocurrency investment, because the same thing that works in the stock market, plain and simply. And if you want to try and time the market, if you want to try and pick a certain altcoin, go for it. Don't want to discourage that at all. That's a lot of where the fun is in cryptocurrency. But always have that backbone of that dollar cost averaged index fund investment approach. So there's the danger that we need to face. And now I'm going to talk a little bit about Gary Gensler. We've got 311 people in chat. Thank you so very much for tuning in. If you guys are enjoying today's stream, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Buy signal on Lux Algo weekly chart just yet. Yes, there is a weekly chart buy signal on Lux Algo. Came out on the 23rd of October, 2023. If you guys have not signed up for Lux Algo yet, you absolutely should. Make sure to check the link in the description box down below. Cool things upcoming there. Now, let's go ahead and read chat for just a second, and then we're going to move on here. BlackRock never got denied. Yes, I think they got denied once, but basically never. Yes. Aaron Dulay said 40K will be at 47 by end of year. That is the prediction that we've been making. In fact, like I just said, that is the video that we made. It was a 48,314 Bitcoin by year's end. Stretching that out at the latest, we're calling by the end of Q1. So that'd be the end of March, which would be right after the Bitcoin BlackRock ETF application would be approved or denied. That's the deadline. Quinn Daughtery said, thank you for your analysis. Thank you so much. Crypto Surge said, smash the likes. Yes, smash the likes, guys. Thank you very much for that. All right, let's talk a little bit about the big GG himself. Good game, Gary Gensler. Let's talk about him a little bit. So I told you that very morbid story earlier, and it's, it's sad and it's scary. But it is a true story, and it happens all the time. I can tell you in my life that oftentimes the thing that I'm the most afraid of, the thing that I am fighting the hardest against, ends up being the thing that gets you. Again, the driving analogy, I think, is probably the one that's closest to home. If you're just learning to drive and you're over here doing this, like you're driving an 18-wheeler with no steering suspension, with no steering, and you just, you got to do this just to turn a little bit. You're driving like this in your grandma's Cadillac, and you're learning how to drive. Then the thing that you're focusing on is the thing that you're probably going to run into. Just the way it works. Wow, man. Look at that tree over there. Here's a road over here. Wow, man, look at that tree over there. Oh my gosh, I ran into a tree. How could you possibly believe it? It's like the road was over here, and I'm just like, man, what is that? Whoa, I don't want to hit that. Oh my gosh, I just hit another one. There's a tree up here. That's kind of what happens, right? In life, oftentimes, if you're scared of whatever, this is one of those examples where it's hard to think of a specific example because there's so many examples. That's likely what you're going to run into. It's likely what you're going to hit. And I think that that's where Gary Gensler is right now. I think that Gary Gensler is scared of a few things, and he is, in a way, manifesting them into reality and screwing over his own legacy. Because Gary Gensler being the chairman of the SEC, that is the height of his career. He will never do anything that is higher than that. He won't. He just won't. Unless he becomes the CEO of JP Morgan or the president of the United States, he will never have a higher title than that. And he likely will never have that title again. So this is the pinnacle of his career, and he knows that time is running out because at the presidential election, normally the president appoints a new chairman. He might stay on the board. He might stay as a chairperson, but he will probably not remain the chairman. The two things that he's most afraid of, I think, are going to actually come true for him. Number one, he seems to be afraid of Bitcoin winning against the SEC. Actually, there's probably more than two, so let's run through a list here. He seems to be afraid that the SEC is going to lose some of its reputation to Bitcoin. So what I mean by that is that the Securities and Exchange Commission is known as the field regulator, and any authority understands that to remain an authority, sometimes you have to exercise that authority to remind people that you are in authority. You don't want to be a tyrant, but sometimes you just have to remind people, hey, I'm the one that's in charge. Did we forget that? No? Okay. So the SEC, understanding that, wants to maintain their authority and their dominance when they walk in a room, and so they want to keep the United States cryptocurrency market at least somewhat under their thumb. The problem is, because Gary Gensler has been so far-reaching, then he has put so much pressure on the cryptocurrency market that he can't sustain it, and it undermines his authority. A good example of, two examples of what I'm talking about here, one fiction, one real. Speed limits. Whenever you have a speed limit, when was the last time that you did the speed limit? I happen to do the speed, maybe you guys do. I believe that, unless there's a good reason, I am called to be submissive to rulers and authorities. They were put in place for a reason, to hold back and restrain sin. Governments are not perfect. They are not God, and they should not be worshipped as a God. But in general, there are some things that you should just kind of follow. I tend to follow the speed limit unless I've got a very good reason, like somebody's needing to go to the hospital or somebody's lost, to break it, right? How many people do that? I'm not trying to put myself on a high horse because there are so many people that are way better at all kinds of things than me. I'm not trying to brag. I'm just telling you my experience. Most people do 10 to 15 over. Most people know if it says 55, it actually means 65. The cops aren't going to care unless you get up to 76, right? They're not going to care unless you go 21 over. That undermines the authority of the police because now it doesn't mean what they say it means. It means 65 when it says 55. Undermines the authority of the police, and it's not good for their image of being an authority. Now, another example, Star Wars. What's the whole story of Star Wars? The Empire oversteps, and then the rebellion says, oh man, I can't take this, and then they kind of break out. That's what was that one show that just came out? They talked about how they wanted the Empire to overreach and just really come down hard because it would invigorate the passions of the rebels. Well, that's what's happening from the SEC. The SEC is the Empire. Gary Gensler is Darth Plagueis the Wise, and we've got the rebels being led by your faithful Luke Skywalker. I'm just kidding. But they've come down so hard that now the industry is just like, forget this. We're coming up in arms against this nonsense. And so the SEC is losing authority and power over the cryptocurrency space, which was exactly Gary Gensler's fear. That was Palpatine's fear. He was not going to be able to keep the rebellion under check. He's just going to smash it into the ground. Well, oftentimes when you try and crush people, they have this spirit about them called no, and they rise up and they do something about it. And that's a little bit what's happening in the cryptocurrency space, is making Gary Gensler look like a pariah. Now, that's just the first thing that Gary Gensler is afraid of happening that is coming true. The second thing that I think Gary Gensler might genuinely be afraid of happening that is coming true is this. He's afraid that the cryptocurrency market is going to go through a massive crash as a result of a manipulation event. Well, how many times has the cryptocurrency market crashed because of something that Gary Gensler himself did? How many times have investors been left holding the bag because Gary Gensler's Securities and Exchange Commission did something that he wanted to claim was in the best interest of the American investor? How many times? Gary Gensler, because of that, has gotten himself into a corner where even the biggest names on Wall Street, BlackRock, are rebelling against him and wanting to put in place a Bitcoin ETF because that's what the people want. And last I checked, this was a Republican democracy. So generally speaking, whether it's good or bad, the people get what they want. It's kind of the way it works. It's Democratic Republic. It's Democratic Republic. Republican democracy. Anyway, you get my point. Gary Gensler is so afraid of somebody manipulating the market and costing the American people so much money that he's caused such a rebellion that there is so much hype about the Bitcoin market that now if he goes through with his own ideology of crush everything cryptocurrency by denying all the Bitcoin ETFs, then he's going to end up trying to crash the market by $5,000 to $10,000. And that exact point is where our two topics overlap. Number one, we've got Bitcoin's probably going to 40,000, but there's a big danger that the SEC might deny all the applications and Bitcoin may crash, so we need to watch out for that. And that overlaps with our second point, which is Gary Gensler is his worst enemy right now because he wants, at least he claims to want, the thing that's in the best interest of the American consumer, investor, taxpayer, etc. The problem is that his very actions of trying to protect them may be the exact market manipulation that he is trying, or at least claims to be trying, to prevent, because by the very act of him denying a popular Bitcoin ETF that everybody agrees should exist, he would then become the most powerful market manipulator in the history of the entire industry. And that would go down in history textbooks of what you don't do. You're trying to protect the investor so much from themselves that you end up being their worst nightmare, and the thing that you feared the most, something terrible happening to the market and it kicking back on you trying to stop that from happening, is exactly why it happened. Because Gary Gensler doesn't want something terrible to happen to crypto and it be blamed on him. Hint, hint, FTX. Securities and Exchange Commission. We forget they're an exchange commission as well. Not just Securities and Exchange Commission. He's already gotten that on his shoulders. So now he's trying to prevent that from happening again. He's trying to prevent some kind of major boogeyman from manipulating the cryptocurrency market, crashing it, making everybody lose all their money. And now he's backed himself into a corner because so much hard-handed regulation has come down that BlackRock themselves has said, hey, look, this might be a good idea. Everybody seems to agree with it because everybody disagrees with you, and the enemy of my enemy might make us some money. And so Gary Gensler denying all of the Bitcoin ETFs would actually work to his disadvantage at this point, if he is genuinely trying to prevent some kind of massive market manipulation event from taking place in the cryptocurrency industry, causing a massive crash or massive rally that comes out of nowhere, knocks everybody out, shorts, longs, whatever, hurts a lot of people. He very well may be, and is at this very moment in the place to be, that exact individual. And Gary Gensler, I think, is smart enough to be thinking about that right now. I'm trying to prevent something horrible from happening in crypto, like what happened with FTX, because I'm going to get blamed for it. But golly, Bitcoin just rallied $15,000 on this hype about Bitcoin ETFs. Man, if I deny the Bitcoin ETFs and it drops $10,000, everybody's going to blame me. That'd be a bigger drop than what happened with FTX. Wouldn't go to jail. He probably wouldn't be sent to prison for that because, it's the regulator's right to deny those. But it would be bad for his reputation. And I do think that Gary Gensler, just like everybody on Capitol Hill, is looking for their reputation to be intact and for them to go down in history as being on the right side of history. And I think Gary Gensler is clinging on to this hope that, I'm on the right side of history. And he's just not. Cryptocurrency is the future. And in the same way that missionary family that was afraid of snakes lost everything is because of those snakes. And if I told you the full story, you would find out that there were 5 of them, 1 lived. The very same thing may happen to Gary Gensler. Hopefully it doesn't involve death. But his fear of something terrible happening to crypto and it blowing back on him may end up leading him to be the exact individual that causes something terrible to happen to cryptocurrency. And it will blow back on him because it would specifically be his fault, not just that he was overseeing it. That is what I call the Gary Gensler dilemma. And we will continue to talk about it until a Bitcoin ETF is approved or he is out of office. Because I think that Gary Gensler, as I said, is smart enough to understand that dilemma, and I think he may realize, if he hasn't already, it's his own pride blinding him. At some point, he needs to realize that he is his own worst enemy, and the best thing that he can do for his reputation is to do what Larry Fink did, repent of his incorrect ideology that cryptocurrency is not to be invested upon, and to allow the ETFs through. In the same way that they've allowed all kinds of other futures contracts, funds based on Ethereum futures contracts to come through with the exact same underlying architecture that the ETFs are saying that they would have. Coinbase as a custodian, same surveillance sharing agreements, etc. Gary Gensler's his own worst enemy, and that is the Gary Gensler dilemma. Let's read some chat. Makes me sad. Because the thing is, ultimately, Gary Gensler is going to end up bringing himself down. Pubo Kayazim, is it too late to FOMO in? Oh my gosh, oh my gosh. It's always too late to FOMO in. You should never FOMO in. Is it too late to buy? No. No, there's a lot to go from here. You always want what you are running from. Samuel Aitken said, what are your thoughts on Sidious Heroes? Not familiar with it. I am sorry. I have the Beholder said, pride comes before destruction. That's right. Buckaroo Tenaventer said, got in late but caught up. Boom. Shout out. Guys, really quickly, I do just want to let you know about an affiliate that we have and an exchange that I personally use. This is where I do my leverage trading when I do leverage trading. I don't do a ton of it, but when I do, this is where I go. It's called Apex Pro. If you guys are not familiar with Apex Pro, you should be, because it is a decentralized exchange built in the vein of Bybit. And if you're familiar with Bybit, obviously you know they're a very, very well-off, profitable, and good exchange, great user interface, and this is a place where you can come and safely, in a decentralized exchange manner, trade with leverage up to 100x leverage. Again, I've been personally using this exchange, and I am a big fan of it. I don't have it connected to my wallet right now, but you would see, of course, the buy, the sell, the TPSL over here, the leverage amount. You would see the wallet connected. You'd be able to see your trade positions down here, and it is an exchange that I think is really, really, really good. If you go on over to CoinMarketCap, you come to exchanges, go down to DEX, you're going to see that it is normally sitting up here around 4 to 5. It's down to number 8 right now, but it's always sitting in the top 10, normally sitting around 4 or 5 up here on trading volume. There's normally a huge amount of trading volume. Look at that, $120 million in the last 24 hours. A lot of liquidity. And it is the exchange of all of them that I've looked into that I personally believe is the best. You've got your order books right here. You've got your recent trades right here. A lot of liquidity, never getting, random scam wicks because of low liquidity. I'm not seeing that happen. You've got your death funding rate details, risk limit, and all of that. If you are not already using a certain exchange for your leverage trading, then I would highly recommend Apex Pro. And the reason for that is because I think that they are the very best option when it comes to a decentralized leverage trading exchange on the market. Why do you want both of those things? Well, if you're leverage trading, that allows you to use a little bit of money to make a lot of money if you have the skill. And I like things that amplify the positive impact of skill. If you're a good trader, leverage is a nice tool to have. Try not to rely on it. Try to build a large enough portfolio that you could do it with no leverage, but it is a good tool to have, and it is helpful. That being said, it is dangerous because of its power. In the same way that if you have a car that can go 0 to 60 in 2.8 seconds, that's a powerful vehicle. It can get you somewhere quick. If you're trying to get to the hospital, that's the car you want to be in, but you could also run yourself off the road really quickly if you're not careful. Similar thing with leverage. It's very powerful. It's not good or bad. It's very powerful, so your propensity to do, not your propensity, but your ability to do damage to yourself is heightened, but your ability to make money is heightened as well. It is not gambling. It is a tool. In the same way, if you buy a house with 20% down, well, my friend, you just bought that house on 5x leverage. You put 1 down, the bank put 4 down, and you're paying that off in time. Similar concept. That's about as far as the analogy goes, 1 to 4. 1 out of 5, 1 and 4 goes. But that's essentially leverage. You're using leverage by taking out some debt, and you are going into a trade. Should you be careful with debt? Absolutely. Is there a place where it might be useful? Also true. Make sure that you're being careful, but I do think that if you're going to be getting into leverage trading, Apex is the best place to go because, as I said, it is a decentralized exchange. And the reason that's important is because if you're in the United States, it's very difficult to get access to any leverage trading platforms because pretty much all of them are behind KYC, and United States federal government regulation essentially stops you from trading on any of them. So 2 things have to happen. Either one, you have to go through a VPN and go on the exchange when it's technically against the exchange's terms of service, which means that the exchange technically has the ability and in some cases may be forced to confiscate your funds. Not fun. Doesn't happen very often, but it can happen. I'm not saying the exchange would want to do that, but they can be forced to do that. That's your one option. It's a viable option. You can do that if you want. No shame, no judgment. But you could also just use a decentralized exchange. And if you're going to use a decentralized exchange for leverage trading, I think there's no better decentralized exchange to use for leverage trading than the one that is built in partnership with the #1 leverage trading platform, which is Bybit. So if you want to sign up for Bybit because you're outside the States or you want to go through that first option, you can use Bybit. There's a link for that down below that helps to support the channel as well. But if you're looking for a leverage trading DEX, Apex is the place to be. All right. Lol, imagine Gary wants to approve and secretly loves crypto. His boss is the one threatening him not to. Maybe. I doubt it. He's pretty convincing. He'd be a heck of a paid actor in that case. But yeah, you never know. Got in late but caught up. Buckaroo Tinaventer said that. Oh yeah, we already read that. Yes, DCA and HODL. That's right. Eye of the Beholder said DCA and chill. Love it. Love it. Alex S said sharp haircut, by the way, Jebs. Thank you. I appreciate that. Guys, we got a lot of content coming, and I'm really excited for the things that are coming over the course of even just the next month. We've got a really cool launch and announcement coming up. No details yet, but that's we got a few of them, actually. A few that I'm planning. So stay tuned for that. A couple, I should say. There's two big ones I'm thinking about. Stay tuned, because we're coming out with another Climate of Crypto episode this week. We'll be doing our afternoon video today. And I'm just really excited about where the channel is going. We've had a lot of growth. If I look over here in the YouTube studio, I've been showing you guys this recently, just so you guys can kind of see. We've been getting a lot of subscriber growth, a lot of new subscribers coming in. You can see right now we're up to 280,000 views over the last 28 days. That's a huge, huge increase on what we were normally doing. 291 subscribers over the last 28 days, turning around a lot of that negative subscriber growth. You can see in the live count, we're starting to tick up. Very exciting, because for a while there, we were having some subscriber loss because there were so many people in the bear market that were leaving the space. It's turning around. People are coming back. Welcome back to the space. I know a lot of you guys are back, and very excited to have you back. Thank you so much for coming back to the cryptocurrency space. You won't be sorry that you did. And guys, like I said, if you did enjoy today's stream, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more content. I'm struggling to figure out wallets and Apex Pro, feeding the 5,000 said. Sure, so that's a great question. Maybe I could make a video on that. If you come into Apex Pro, I don't know if this will be the most helpful thing, but I can definitely get you some resources. Go to Connect Wallet, grab your wallet. I've been using BitGet Wallet. I went ahead and set up a BitGet Wallet. Let me just click this and see what happens. Yes, I don't think that this is a problem. Okay, so you can connect your wallet here. You have to create the wallet, and then you have to... go ahead and connect it through Zerion, Ledger, Fireblocks, View All. You can connect a bunch of different kinds of wallets here. If it's a mobile wallet, then you can use that QR code that's going to pop up right here. Let me just click this real quick and make sure that this doesn't show anything it shouldn't, because this is Ledger and I do have a Ledger. If you hit the Ledger, it looks like you can connect through Ledger as well. I think that might be a new feature, because I didn't see that before, because I was using BitGet Wallet. I probably will use Ledger. Not that I have anything against the BitGet Wallet. I think it's pretty good too. But yeah, okay, so... Okay, yeah, look at that. So you can connect to BitGet Pro here. Not BitGet Pro, I'm sorry. Apex Pro. Let me see. Let's see how I can show this. Let me go to the discrete mode here. Let's see. I might be able to show this with Ledger on stream. Let me just run through this real quick and make sure that I'm not doing anything I shouldn't be doing as far as showing something that shouldn't be on public. All right, so go to Connect. Here, if you got a Ledger, this is one way you can do it. Go to Wallet Connect. I'm going to hit Ledger. Again, I'm going to come to my face so I don't show it. It's going to hit Allow. It's going to say Continue in Ledger Live. Ledger Live is showing up. Just trying to be careful not to show my Ledger on screen. And then, let's see. This is in... Yes. Let me just check this real quick to make sure everything's here. All right. So, actually, I'm not going to show this just because it's got some wallet addresses. I'll show it like this. Yeah, so it's going to bring you in Ledger, and you can connect to Apex Pro right here with Ethereum, or I think Bitcoin, a few others. So that's one way to connect Ledger. You can come in here with BitGet Wallet, Coinbase Wallet, Trust Wallet, MetaMask, Bybit Wallet. You can connect straight into your Bybit account. So if you have a Bybit account and you want to trade on Apex, you can do that. BitGet, it'll just have you punch in the private keys, I think. No, excuse me, I'm sorry, not the private keys. Apologies, not the private keys. It'll have you punch in the, it'll just have you connect the wallet the way you would any other time, not the private keys, I'm sorry. And yeah, you should be able to go from there. If it's still not making any sense, then feel free to let me know. I can make a video on that if you guys would be interested in that. Most exchange won't confiscate your fund. If you get caught accessing the exchange from a restricted country, they will lock your account and force you to withdraw everything unless it's a scam. That is how they normally do it. What I'm saying is that they are in the hands of the government, and you want to be careful about the government coming in saying, no exchange, you have to do this. Because you never do know what they're going to do. My friend says, crypto is gambling. Could you explain why he is wrong? What is the difference between investing and gambling? So great question, Nick. Gambling is based on randomness. It's based on chance. when you are gambling on something, you are basically gambling on, all right, I think the die is going to roll this way. And there might be some skill to it. You could gamble on sports betting, but even on sports betting, it is, chance. Things could happen on the field all day. But to some degree, you at least have some information. Straight gambling, you're playing blackjack or something, and that has to do with the way that, that has to do with the manner in which the cards are laid out. Right? There's a certain degree of chance. Like, all right, they shuffle the blackjack cards. 52 factorial is a huge number for all my math nerds out there. It's a massive amount of ways you can shuffle the cards, so there's no way of predicting it whatsoever. It's impossible. So playing blackjack, 21, whatever you want to call it, you are gambling that you're going to get the right number. And you can card count, sure, but that is only going to take you so far. You're only going to be able to give yourself like a 52% advantage. And that's going to take a long time to make any money with, even if you know how to play the game. And by play the game, I mean game the game. Investment is a very different strategy because there are fundamentals behind the thing that you're investing in. And if there aren't, you shouldn't be investing in it. There is a value proposition. There is a business model. There is a customer. There is a product. There is a need that is not being met that this product or this cryptocurrency will hopefully meet. And so when you are buying into something that is an investment, you're essentially entering into a purchase agreement to buy a share of ownership of something that is created with the expectation of profit from the selling of some kind of good or investment to someone else. That's a very different endeavor than gambling, because gambling is based on, again, randomness. You're gambling that something is going to happen in a random manner that you are going to make money off of. So there is a very large difference, and you can gamble in investments by being unwise, because if you're not doing your research, then you basically are just saying, just gambling because you don't know. If your lack of knowledge and your decision based on that lack of knowledge might as well be gambling. But it's not inherently gambling. In the same way, investing in the stock market is not inherently gambling, or else we would all be gamblers for having a Roth IRA or 401k. We're not. We're investors. There's a big difference. So, how is investing in cryptocurrency not gambling? Well, cryptocurrency's appreciation is not based on random chance. First and foremost, I can tell you from experience that the charts will tell you where the market is going to go generally. We have a very strong track record of calling where the market is going to go. A very strong track record of telling the market where it's going to go. And it's no coincidence that we did that through technical analysis. Technical analysis is the gateway to understanding where the market goes. I believe so firmly in technical analysis. I do it every single day. I have for 6 years. You might say, well, Jeb, that gives you some kind of bias. Maybe. Or maybe I just hitched my wagon to that horse because it's a good horse. You can predict with quite a lot of confidence where the market is going to go. Can you predict with 100% certainty? No. You can predict with a whole lot more than 51% certainty. You can make a whole lot more than, you can do a whole lot better than 51% of the time you're making money in markets, though. And there are plenty of case studies that you can take to prove that. How would you borrow against your crypto, or is it better to just take profits and pay the taxes? That is a specific financial question that would be better asked of a CPA, Josh Denham, because I am not inherently familiar with your situation. I'd be more than happy to sit down and do some financial coaching with you if you'd be interested, Josh. There's a link for that down below. I love helping people with their personal finances and also with questions like that to the best of my ability. As far as that goes, though, I have done that one time, kind of as an experiment, and I did it with Coinbase, and it worked pretty well. You can borrow against your crypto in that manner. There are a lot of different companies that can do that. Genesis used to do that. Coinbase, I think, still does that. Better to take the profits and pay the taxes. It really depends on the individual situation. It depends on whether they're short-term or long-term capital gains. It depends on your tax bracket. It depends on how much you're going to borrow, what the interest rate is. It's really not as simple of a question as that. It's like, should I buy this house or should I buy that house? Well, I don't know. I mean, you haven't even told me the address, right? I don't know what the houses are. So you've got to have some more specifics there. Using Coinbase, I think Coinbase is a good option. Like I said, I've used Coinbase before for that, just as an experiment. And it worked. It worked well. I liked the functionality. I will remind you, the Bible says that the debtor is slave to the lender. And so do be very careful with debt. I'm not going to say that debt is sin. I'm not going to condemn somebody for debt. I have taken out debt before. Let me just go ahead and knock myself off that high horse real quick. But you do want to be careful with it. So make sure before you take out any debt, you are considering the reason why you're taking out the debt and whether or not you're taking out the debt to make an investment that will make you more money than the debt will cost you in interest payments. That's pretty much the only time that you really should be taking out debt, in my opinion. There are a few other reasons, like if you're trying to buy a house and you don't want to live in a, a cardboard box. Other than that, though, be very careful with that. Using Coinbase, not a bad option, especially if it's short-term capital gains, might be a good choice. But again, make sure it's for the right reasons. Are we at the top of the Bollinger Bands for Bitcoin? Should we take a little profit? Yes, it's not a bad idea to take a little bit of profit. I wouldn't get too carried away with that, though, because it depends on your portfolio, right? It depends on whether, and we are at the top of the Bollinger Bands. You can see it right here. I could just tell you off the top of my head we were going to be at the top of the Bollinger Bands, even though I haven't checked, because it's just, we've rallied so far. Technically speaking, if you bought in down here at like 25, yeah, now's a great time to take some profit if you're trying to do a swing trade. If you're an investor, hold on tight. You may go through a correction, buy more. Don't try and... It depends on the portfolio you're talking about. If you're talking about that long-term index fund style investment approach that I've talked about, then no, don't take profits. You don't take profits every time the market hits a new peak. No, you wouldn't have a portfolio left. You hold on to that sucker for 40 years, right? You might not hold on to it for 40 years in crypto because there's a shorter half-life for the lifespan of cryptocurrencies, but... you're not going to take profits every time we go through a rally. If you did a swing trade and you bought in at 25 with the expectation to sell at 35, yeah, now's the time. Sure. So that really depends on what portfolio you're talking about. It's all a calculated gamble. The higher the risk, the higher the reward. Oftentimes that is true, John Doe. All right, well, I hope you guys did enjoy today's stream, and I hope you guys will come and join me on Apex. If you use the link down below, you will be helping to support this channel and all of our efforts every single day here on the Crypto Jeb YouTube channel, and you will also be getting access to an incredible, decentralized leverage trading platform. And if you are careful with leverage trading, it is a form of work in the cryptocurrency market that can make you a lot of money. You can also lose a lot of money, so be careful. I'm just going to put that out there for like the 15th time. Be careful. But if you know what you're doing and you're looking for a home for your leverage trading account, Apex is the place to go. So make sure to check them out. The link in the description box down below. And also don't forget about Lux Algo, because Lux Algo called this whole rally. And if you go back and you backtest everything, backtest, that's a cool name. Remember I said that. Backtesting everything in the cryptocurrency space that Lux Algo has called on a certain time frame, then you are going to be very excited to see that Lux Algo has an incredible track record. So sign up below with the link Jeb30, JEBB30 for 30% off at checkout, or to make it simple on you, you can just click the link down below. Again, if you guys did enjoy today's stream, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, but I am going to go ahead and wrap it out. Before I go, I do just first want to thank each and every single last one of you for watching, as always, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.
Oh, I got a real good feeling.